Hi, this is Bill Watkins. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes to look into the Word of God with me. We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 11, where Paul is talking about things concerning worship specifically, and he talked about the women being covered and the men being uncovered, and he moves now to the Lord's Supper, beginning in verse 17. Now, in giving these instructions, I do not praise you, since you come together not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together as a church, I hear that there are divisions among you, and in part I believe it. For there must also be factions among you, that those who are approved may be recognized among you. Therefore, when you come together in one place, it's not to eat the Lord's Supper. For in eating, each one takes his own supper ahead of others, and one is hungry, and another is drunk. What? Do you not have houses to eat and drink in? Or do you despise the church of God and shame those who have nothing? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I do not praise you. In the early church, here's the point. They come together and there's divisions, and they're making the divisions worse. Some of the divisions he talked about in the first chapter, divisions over preachers, and there are other divisions over going to court and other things. But now there are divisions that come about even in the taking of the Lord's Supper. They've perverted it to a common meal, and people who have a lot are eating all that they can and not sharing, and people who have nothing are going hungry, and some who are eating are copying the pagan feasts and eating and drinking to the point of drunkenness. And he says, this isn't the Lord's Supper. This isn't what the Lord's Supper is about. If you want to eat a meal, you can eat it at home. Now, he doesn't mean that it's a sin to eat in the church building. What he is saying is, this is not the Lord's Supper. The Lord's Supper is something sacred and holy and communing together and sharing together. And if you're taking this selfishly, it's not the Lord's Supper. Make sure that you share. Make sure that you do not abuse the worship. Don't turn worship into a time of self-gratification, because that's not what worship is about. Thanks for watching.